Have you ever felt that sudden sting when you see someone else succeed? That quiet voice that says, "Why not me?" Or that restless feeling when you compare your progress to theirs? Jealousy is subtle, but it's powerful. It creeps into our minds and steals our peace. But here's the truth. Jealousy is not a sign that you are behind. It's a sign that you've forgotten your own power. If you've ever struggled with envy, comparison, or the pressure to measure up, you're in the right place. Today, we'll uncover how to flip the script, how to turn jealousy into strength, and how to win the real battle, the one that happens in your mind. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss tools and insights that will keep you strong on your self-improvement journey. 1. Spotting the signs of power loss. Jealousy is not just about wanting what someone else has, it's about losing connection with your own power. You know you're losing that power when you start obsessing over other people's achievements, when their wins feel like your losses, or when you measure your value through their timeline instead of your own. This is the subtle but dangerous shift that jealousy creates. It pulls your eyes off your own road and forces them onto someone else's. Suddenly, instead of running your race, you're spectating theirs, and every step they take forward feels like you are being left further behind. But here's the truth. You are not behind, because you are not even running the same race. Jealousy disguises this fact by convincing you that all success belongs to the same ladder, when in reality, life is a vast landscape with countless paths. The feeling of power loss is not that others are moving ahead, but that you have abandoned your own direction in order to watch theirs. The first step in winning the mental battle is awareness. You cannot fight what you do not see. Most people who live in jealousy don't even realize it. They just think they're being motivated or that they're setting higher standards. But pay attention to the quality of your emotions. Do you feel inspired when someone succeeds, or do you feel diminished? Inspiration gives you energy. Jealousy drains it. That distinction is crucial. If you notice yourself scrolling endlessly, feeling your mood drop after seeing someone's post, or questioning your worth because someone else seems to have it all, that is the signal. That is jealousy tapping you on the shoulder, whispering that your energy has been hijacked. These are the signs of power loss. When your joy feels conditional on what others are doing, when you no longer act from your own vision but react to theirs, when you feel more like an observer of life than a creator of it. Spotting these signs is not weakness, it is strength. Most people are too proud to admit jealousy because the ego hates being exposed. But denial only strengthens the hold of jealousy, while awareness begins to break it. When you name it, you separate yourself from it. You are no longer jealousy, you are someone experiencing jealousy. That shift in language changes everything. From there, you can start reclaiming your power. Awareness does not instantly remove jealousy, but it creates space between you and it. In that space, choice is born. You can choose to continue comparing, or you can choose to redirect your focus. You can choose to let their win inspire your own growth instead of diminish your worth. The moment you spot the signs, you have already begun the process of taking your power back. 2. Taking responsibility for your emotions. Here's the hard truth. Nobody makes you jealous, you make yourself jealous. That may sound uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. If jealousy were caused by others, then you would be powerless because you can't control what others achieve, what they post, or how they live. But jealousy begins in your mind. It is not an external event. It is an internal interpretation. Two people can watch the same success story. One feels inspired, the other feels threatened. The difference is not the story, it is the mind that receives it. Once you understand this, you unlock the path to freedom. Because if jealousy is born in your thoughts, then it can also be dissolved there. The responsibility is yours, and that is not a burden. It is power. It means you are not a victim of the world's successes. You are the author of your own perspective. Taking responsibility means saying, I am in charge of what I feel. It is the refusal to outsource your emotional state to other people's achievements or timelines. It means admitting that the storm is not in the outside world, but within your own thinking. This is not about blame, it is about ownership. Blame keeps you stuck because it points the finger outward, waiting for others to change so you can feel better. Responsibility points inward, reminding you that the only person you need to change in order to find peace is yourself. Once you own your emotions, you can master them. When jealousy arises, instead of saying, "They made me feel this way," you say, "I am creating this response, and I can create a different one." That mindset alone separates the strong from the weak, because strength is not about never feeling negative emotions, but about taking charge of them when they appear. Responsibility is the foundation of freedom. Imagine a sailor blaming the wind for where his ship goes. He would remain lost forever. But a sailor who takes responsibility adjusts his sails. The wind is the same, but the direction is different. Life works the same way. You cannot control the winds of other people's success, but you can control the sails of your perception. The moment you accept this truth, jealousy loses its grip. You no longer waste energy wishing others would slow down or fail. You redirect that energy into steering your own course. And that is where real power lies, not in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering the one thing always within reach, your own mind. 3. Replacing comparison with self-mastery. Jealousy thrives in comparison, but comparison is a game you can never win. No matter how far you climb, there will always be someone higher, richer, more skilled, or more admired. If your worth depends on being above others, then you are building a house on sand, because someone else's rise will always shake your foundation. The antidote is not to outdo others, it is to outdo yourself. Progress is not about being better than the next person, it is about being better than the person you were yesterday. Jealousy wants you to keep looking sideways, but growth demands that you look inward. You cannot control another person's destiny, but you can control your own. The more you turn your attention to self-mastery, the less room jealousy has to breathe. Self-mastery begins with discipline. Instead of wasting hours comparing yourself to others, spend those hours refining your craft, strengthening your body, sharpening your mind. Comparison feeds weakness. Discipline builds strength. Every time you catch yourself asking, "How do I measure up?" redirect that question to, "How can I grow today?" This question changes everything. It shifts your focus from deficiency to progress. You are no longer chasing someone else's shadow. You are carving your own path. And the beauty of self-mastery is that it cannot be taken away. Someone else can always surpass you in wealth, looks, or achievements, but no one can surpass you in being the best version of yourself. That path is yours alone, untouched by competition. Replacing comparison with self-mastery is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice. Every day you will be tempted to look at someone else's success and measure yourself against it. But every day you also have the chance to redirect that energy inward. Self-mastery is built in small steps, in choosing consistency over excuses, discipline over indulgence, focus over distraction. It is built in the daily choice to invest in yourself instead of resenting others. Over time, these choices transform jealousy into fuel. Where once you would have wasted energy envying others, now you channel that same energy into building your own strength. And when you live this way, you reach a place where other people's success no longer threatens you. It inspires you because you know that their path is theirs and yours is yours, and the only race worth running is the one against yourself.
4. Setting a standard only you can meet. Comparison fades when you set standards that are unique to you. Imagine building a rule book for your own life where the only competitor is yesterday's version of yourself. That's freedom. When you live by your own chosen principles rather than chasing what society tells you to value, you free yourself from the endless race of measuring up to others. The truth is, no matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone with more money, more recognition, more beauty, more opportunity. But none of that matters if you live by a different scorecard. By setting your own standard, one that only you can define, you take back the power that comparison tries to steal. Instead of running in a race designed by someone else, you begin walking your own path, one that no one else can walk for you. Your standard might be to live with integrity, to keep promises to yourself, to build resilience in the face of setbacks. These are standards that no one else can define or measure. They are internal commitments that exist whether the world sees them or not. A man who decides he will not lie, even in small matters, sets a standard for himself that cannot be compared to anyone else's achievement. A woman who vows to rise again after every failure sets a bar that no one else can lower. These kinds of standards cut jealousy off at the root because they don't depend on applause, rankings, or validation. They are self-defined, self-verified, and self-sustaining. When you live by them, you discover a rare kind of independence, the kind that no one can take away. To set a standard only you can meet is to embrace a lifelong project of becoming your truest self. It means saying, I will not measure my worth against another's fortune, but against my own growth. I will not let the shine of someone else's victory dim the light of my progress. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The measure is not in talking, not in proving, not in comparing, but in becoming. Every day you can ask, did I live up to my standard today? Did I act with courage, with honesty, with self-control, with kindness? The answer to those questions tells you far more than looking at what your neighbor has achieved. The higher your personal standard, the less room jealousy has to breathe, because now your validation doesn't come from outside, it comes from living in alignment with who you've chosen to be. No one can take that from you. The victories of others no longer diminish you. They become irrelevant because they are not competing in your arena. You are not racing them. You are refining yourself. This is the deepest freedom, to live not as a shadow of others, but as a light unto yourself. It is a difficult path, yes, because it requires discipline, honesty, and courage. But it is the only path where jealousy cannot survive. For in the end, envy withers when you are too busy becoming the person only you can be.
5. Winning by staying true to yourself. The greatest victory over jealousy comes not from ignoring it, but from transforming it. When you root yourself in authenticity, jealousy has no soil to grow in. You win by choosing your own race, by defining your own success, by realizing that your worth is not up for comparison. The world will always whisper, look at them, look at what they have, look at where you should be. But the wiser voice says, stay on your path, honor your truth, measure your progress by who you are becoming. This is not easy. It requires constant awareness, a deliberate refusal to be swept away by the noise of other people's lives. But when you master this, you no longer compete, you create. You no longer chase, You walk steadily. You no longer envy, you affirm. That is the victory of staying true to yourself. Staying true to yourself is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up in your lane, walking your journey with conviction, and refusing to let envy pull you off course. Perfection is an illusion that comparison thrives on, but consistency is the soil where authenticity grows. When you choose to live in line with your principles every day, even imperfectly, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken by another person's success. Imagine a tree planted firmly in the ground. Winds may blow, storms may come, but the tree does not envy the bird that flies or the flower that blooms nearby. It simply grows as a tree. That is what it means to stay true, to grow as what you are meant to be, not as a copy of someone else. Authenticity is strength because it cannot be taken away. The rewards of staying true to yourself are often invisible at first. Peace of mind, clarity of direction, a quiet sense of fulfillment, but they grow into the strongest form of wealth. You begin to notice that the victories of others do not wound you because you are no longer playing their game. Their lane is theirs and yours is yours. This is what the Stoics meant when they taught that happiness is found in virtue, not in circumstance. If you act with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, then you are already winning. The scoreboard of the world cannot measure this kind of success. It cannot be ranked, it cannot be stolen, it cannot be envied, because it exists entirely within you. That's how you win the mental battle, not by chasing others, but by mastering the power of your own mind. To stay true to yourself is to say, I will not be a slave to comparison. I will not abandon my principles to keep up appearances. I will not lose myself trying to become someone else. Instead, I will walk steadily in my truth, step by step, day by day. And when jealousy tries to whisper, I will answer with integrity. When envy tries to distract, I will respond with focus. In this way, you transform jealousy into fuel, not by feeding it, but by redirecting it, using it as a reminder to return to your own path. That is victory, not the fleeting thrill of being ahead of someone else, but the enduring strength of being at peace with yourself.
Jealousy is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It reveals where you've forgotten your own value, where you've given your power away, and where you need to grow. Spot the signs, take responsibility, replace comparison with self-mastery, set your own standards, and stay true to yourself. That's how you shift the power back in your favor. If this message spoke to you, remember, you don't have to fight this battle alone. Subscribe for more insights because together we're building a community that values strength, self-mastery, and real growth. The battle against jealousy is not about beating others. It's about becoming unstoppable within yourself.